Straight ahead on 12 News, a definite bump in the road in Brooklyn Center. Why some streets in that city are more prone to potholes. Then, the power of art. We'll show you how it's helping patients heal. But first, a big announcement by a medical technology company that impacts 2 Northwest metro cities. 12 News starts right now. Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Alexandra Renslow.
And I'm Mike Johnson. The months-long nationwide search is over.
A medical technology company with a facility in Maple Grove has selected the site for its relocation, and the winner is Brooklyn Park. Olympus Surgical Technologies America has announced it will break ground within a month at a site south of the 610 freeway. The company will move all 265 workers from its current Maple Grove facility. The move is also expected to create nearly 100 new jobs. Ryan Companies, the developer for the project, says Minnesota's standing as a hub for medical technology helped swing the project in Brooklyn Park's favor. Brooklyn Park helped lure Olympus through tax increment financing, which allows tax breaks while construction takes place. Voters are heading to the polls in smaller numbers than in the presidential election year, but they're deciding some important local issues.
One that's not even on the ballot is being brought up by several people running for school board in the Hopkins district. The question is whether an Edina neighborhood should stay in that district. For voters at Meadowbrook Elementary in Golden Valley, this off-year election is full of local issues.
A person I know is on the city running for city council.
They're deciding Golden Valley council seats, 2 Hopkins school levy questions, and a school board election with 3 candidates who may favor helping this Edina neighborhood leave the Hopkins school district. Candidate Gary Jing, who lives in Edina, says in a statement, the Parkwood Knolls neighborhood is a community that's been continuously ignored and mistreated by the district over decades, which he says includes the closing of local schools. Jing says detachment from the Hopkins district isn't the only way to solve the problem, but he calls it a last resort. So what do voters think the impact has been on an otherwise quiet school board election?
If they were people who are actually interested in the Hopkins district and wanted to improve the Hopkins district, I assume they would have showed up to the discussions on why they wanted to be on the school board, but I don't know a lot about it because they didn't give a lot of information.
I don't think it would make that big a difference because it's not that big an area. If it were half of Edina, then it would be a different story, but it's not. Leaving
the district is on the agenda of a group called Unite Edina 273.
We'll certainly
Hopkins board incumbent Betsy Anderson says it's an issue that was decided a year ago, but if candidates want to bring up the discussion again, so be it.
If anything, it's certainly raised the profile of the school board race for constituents across the district, and for that we're actually pleased. If it gets people talking about school board races and issues related to education, only good things can come of that.
In the Osseo School District, the election is all about 2 levies. The district is trying again to get voters to approve more money for operations and technology. Voters said no last year, but by a very narrow margin.
I'm just tired of the struggle with the school district, always letting teachers go. And I feel like that's not the answer. And I'm hoping that passing this levy will be one that will solve whatever issue it is that they're up against.
In this day and age, the tax situation is really, there's a lot of people struggling with that. And me being retired and all, it's concerned me.
The polls close at 8 o'clock, and you can watch the votes as they are counted here on Channel 12 on the bottom of your screen.
The first snowfall usually has people scurrying to get ready for winter. At Osseo Power Sports, there's been an uptick in people dropping off snowblowers. The problems they see are common ones, like gas left in the tank from last winter.
If it fires up and runs, that's great. If it doesn't, probably best off just bring it to the professionals, have us check it out because they are kind of tedious and kind of finicky.
Last year, during one big snowfall, they had about 100 snowblowers dropped off in a 3-day period.
A significant step forward today for the Bottineau Light Rail project. The Hennepin County Regional Railroad Authority approved $18 million in spending on development and engineering plans. The vote will eventually help send the project to the federal government, which would fund half of the billion-dollar cost.
The northwestern suburbs desperately need a light rail line. We need to be part of that system. Golden Valley, Robbinsdale, Crystal, Brooklyn Park are all ready for the redevelopment that could happen along the line. We have a rail corridor that's ready-made for it. And quite frankly, we just need better transit.
Commissioner Opad expects the Bottineau line to be a much smoother approval process than the Southwest line because he says the Bottineau route doesn't run through old established neighborhoods. Like snow-filled forecasts, potholes are inevitable in Minnesota.
But some Brooklyn Center roads are more susceptible to the cringe-worthy craters than others. Renee Bonneau explains why and what the city is doing to fix them.
The patchwork on Bryant Avenue near 55th shows an ongoing battle.
I can go back to my gravel days when I lived on a farm, and it sometimes it's like traveling on the gravel road. It's just pock marks all over the place.
Larry Ruzick has lived on this road for about 30 years and says recently the pothole problem has gotten worse.
I don't know what it is, and it's not just this street. You can notice on a number of the streets around here, too.
In fact, in the southeast and north central parts of Brooklyn Center, signs of potholes run up and down residential roads.
The roads that we reconstructed in the late 90s, early 2000s is what it's narrowed down to. So that can range from anywhere from 10 to 15 miles of roadway in this city.
Brooklyn Center worked with MnDOT to figure out why roads that should last 30 years are failing in half that time.
It's hard to exactly identify what went wrong, but we do know that it's simply a breakdown in the emulsified asphalt and in the pavement, and that can be from multiple causes, from some of the construction inspection techniques to construction practices, as well as the pavement mix designs.
Whatever the reason, Brooklyn Center's brittle roads are ripe for potholes.
Over a winter, these will expand into some pretty significant potholes.
City crews have tried a variety of ways to stretch out the life of the roads, including different pothole patching techniques. Larry Ruzick is frustrated that these efforts are even necessary.
If it's supposed to stand up for a certain amount of time, it should stand up for a certain amount of time.
In Brooklyn Center, Renee Bonneau, 12 News.
The city's engineer says the problem will eventually force Brooklyn Center to step up its capital improvement program to resurface some streets sooner than expected.
In other news, the Hennepin County Medical Examiner says the person shot and killed inside a Minneapolis nightclub is a Brooklyn Park man. 27-year-old Tyrone Washington was shot early Sunday morning at Epic nightclub. He died of a gunshot wound to the chest. Police are still looking for the shooter, and Minneapolis police have raised concern about retaliation.
A Plymouth man has confessed and is apologizing for defacing a national monument in Montana. Cole Randall told investigators he did it because of his wife's cancer scare. Randall trespassed and carved his and his wife's first names on Pompey's Pillar, the historic sandstone column that has the 2 centuries-old signature of famous explorer William Clark. Randall called the act stupid and misguided. Federal investigators are completing a damage assessment before deciding whether to press charges. Coming up, a Brooklyn Center church fills an important role in the battle to fight hunger.
Then later in sports, we'll check in with the Maple Grove football team as they get set for the school's first state playoff appearance since 2002.
But first, don't let the forecast bother you too much. There's actually a warm-up expected toward the end of the week.
Food shelves serve the hungry, but they only go so far.
Those in need no longer have to travel to Minneapolis for a free hot meal. A nonprofit is now serving up dinners right here in the Northwest Metro. The atmosphere is festive and the doors are open at this Brooklyn Center church where there's an open invitation for food and fellowship.
It's about people that are hungry, but it's just as much about people that want to serve their fellow people right here in Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center.
Come on in and have a seat. All are welcome at this dinner.
You could be a child without a parent. You could be a senior citizen. You could be an entire family.
Nonprofit organization Loaves Fishes is serving up the meal.
We'll do a little chicken.
This week marks the beginning of a 2-night-a-week free meal program Loaves Fishes is bringing to the Northwest Metro because they know there's a need outside of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Well, hunger since 2008 has really expanded. It has expanded into this area, the ring suburbs, right outside of Minneapolis. you can't ignore it.
Crystal, I'm going to have you do the lettuce and the cheese.
Lutheran Church of the Master is a good site for this program. The Brooklyn Center Church was already serving one hot meal a week before Loaves and Fishes came in to expand the effort.
And we started this mission last February. We started with about 60 people, and now we're up to about 200.
Timothy Lindman had his first meal at the church Monday night.
Oh, the food's great.
It likely won't be his last visit, and he suspects he'll have some company.
Oh, it's going to get way bigger. You get the word of mouth around the Brooklyns here, it's going to get way bigger here.
The meals are offered Monday and Wednesday evenings. You can go to our website, 12.tv, for more information about the program and also how to volunteer. Coming up, pictures worth much more than 1,000 words. They also help patients heal.
But first in sports, Totino Grace's football team prepares for a second chance against Osseo. John Jacobson is in next. For Maple Grove football, it was very close last year, but they didn't get in. This year, they are in the state tournament.
Made that final push, and it's been a great season so far for this club. The Maple Grove football team is in the state playoffs after an 11-year hiatus. Jason Malillo has a preview of the Crimson's first-round game.
Maple Grove is the number 2 seed in the state tournament and will face Roseville area in the quarterfinals.
To our kids, this is something that we believed we could make this, so I think they're in a good frame of mind.
The Raiders have a dynamic offense, having scored 30 or more points 6 times this season, so the Maple Grove defense will have to be dialed in on Thursday night.
We know they're a spread team. They got a pretty good quarterback and receiver, and they like to just spread it out and just throw the ball around quite a bit.
They've kind of waxed everybody. I mean, they beat Lakeville South 39-15, who early in the year beat Lake Wayzata, and they won their first game 49-6 in the playoffs. So they have destroyed their playoffs so far. So we know we're coming in and facing a good team, but that's what it's about. When you get to the Final 8, they're all going to be good, and Roseville's no exception.
The Crimson plays its first round game at TCF Bank Stadium, so practice is outside all week in order to stay accustomed to the elements. What practice can't simulate is how the boys will react to playing in a big venue like TCF with a trip to the state semifinals on the line.
They're going to be wide-eyed when they walk out that tunnel, and they're going to look, and this is where the Ghosts play and what they see on TV and all these kind of things. And so I think they should experience the enjoyment of that. That's fun. They worked hard to get to that point, but then after that they realize, you know what, it's just a game, and we want to get to that next step. So hopefully they'll handle it appropriately.
That's the biggest thing, is that we're still playing no matter where the venue is. We're working to be the best, so that's the goal.
Maple Grove hasn't been to the state tournament in more than a decade, and getting back is a big deal, not just for the players and coaches, but for the school and the community as well. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
Maple Grove and Roseville kick off at 8 o'clock Thursday night following the Eastview-Rosemont game. Both of those games are at TCF Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. You can watch the Maple Grove game live on our website Thursday night. That's 12.tv. And watch it here on Channel 12 Friday night at 7 and 10 p.m. Along with Maple Grove, 2 more local Northwest Suburban Conference teams are in the state Class 6A playoffs. Osseo meets Totino Grace Friday in a rematch of the last regular season game. Jay Wilcox checks in with the Grace Eagles.
For Totino Grace, it's a second chance to play a good Osseo team after losing to the Orioles in mid-October.
We just felt like we didn't play with any emotion. We weren't having fun out there. You know, they outcompeted us for a little bit of the game, so we just gotta, come ready. I don't think we were mentally prepared for that game, so I think we will come prepared this game.
Last Friday, the Eagles knocked off Wayzata 22-8 in a matchup of 2 of the state's top programs in the 2000s. It was their first win over the Trojans.
Well, it's always fun playing against a big school like that. They've had a really successful program over the years, and it was a blast. I mean, we had a great game plan going into it, so we were confident, and we just went out there and executed and had a lot of fun and flew around.
Really exciting to come out on top, but maybe even as much or more, we played really well. We played clean and executed the best we have all season.
The win makes Totino Grace's decision to opt up to Class 6A look like the right one, although they were already convinced of that.
We knew we could compete with the big teams. We knew we'd have to put in a lot more work, in the off season and during the season. So it was a lot more for us, but there's no doubt that we could do it.
I don't think we were looking for any validation, to be honest with you. I think we made this decision because it's where we felt like we belonged, and we're excited to be here.
A lot of Eagles football memories have been created in the Metrodome over the years. And they're grateful for a chance to play there again before the dome comes down.
Well, I mean, it's always exciting to play in the Metrodome, but I think it takes a little bit more of a significance this year. Now it's the last year, and no one's going to get a chance to play in it after us. So, yeah, I think we're all really excited, and we're definitely going to savor every moment of it.
The Eagles are hoping Friday will be the first of 3 in a row under the Teflon sky. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
It's Totino Grace and Osseo meeting Friday night at 8 o'clock at the Metrodome. You can see the game live through our website, 12.tv. Catch the replays Saturday night at 7 and 10 o'clock on Channel 12, and Wednesday starting at 4, a look at the Osseo Orioles. That's a look at sports.
All right, thanks, John. Still had a first-of-its-kind art exhibit found right here in Hennepin County.
Why some say it offers some special healing powers when we come back.
Many Twin Cities hospitals and clinics patients heal through traditional forms of medicine.
But many also practice healing through the arts. In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland shows us a first-of-its-kind exhibit that highlights some of the ways art can heal.
This is the government center where a lot of people who work here or do business here are undergoing stress.
Hennepin County's government center is known for its hustle and bustle.
This is a high traffic space and a lot of people are moving through here.
But tucked away in the basement is an exhibition
called Creative Care, Art and Healing in the Twin Cities,
dedicated to the healing power of art.
These are all ways in which the arts have been used towards various kinds of healing.
Jack Becker has been involved in the planning for the past 9 months, and each of the 9 organizations represented here.
MacPhail Center for Music, the Penny George Institute of Health and Healing, the Wilder Foundation,
showcase how they use art to treat those seeking comfort.
From medical healing to kids that are going through teenage pressures, to young people who are dealing with medical issues. It's a very broad spectrum.
Examples include puppetry,
a practice they can take home and keep doing on their own.
Nature walks.
It's taking your mind off of what it is that's bothering you right now.
Musical therapy, painting, and ceramics.
And so it's not a surprise that the Twin Cities are home to the largest arts and healing community in the country.
However, Becker said the goal of this exhibit isn't just to show off pieces of art, but rather to catch the attention of those who pass by.
Get people to stop, think, and then take action and actually do something that might be of benefit to them or somebody they care about.
For Health Check, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
A special celebration of the exhibit will take place Wednesday from 11 until 2 at the Hennepin County Government Center. That's it. That'll do it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow. Community Corner is coming up next.